All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, September 8th, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis, and our new Discord community. Just got that up and running yesterday, so very excited about that. Very tired right now from rolling out everything, but it's pretty awesome, so come check it out. 2-week free trial. You got nothing to lose. Anyways, as I screw up my charts here. Anyways, let's get into the markets here today. So basically a flat day, right? I talked about this morning 44.75 being a level of interest on the spiders, or actually on the SPX. And we got up there and we got to 44.71, and that was the cap, right? So we got up there and that was it. Pulling back here. Guess where we are? Anybody want to take a guess? 44.50, right? So the Gamma Boys got them on the phone again and called for that number one more time here. So right into that area on the SPX. And what do we have? You know, all things considered, again, still just inside of this green bar for the most part here. So, you know, everything I said yesterday kind of stands for today, right? As long as this doesn't break, you know, we'll give the market, we'll give the bulls kind of the benefit of the doubt. However, it's not like they're doing, you know, anything spectacular here. In fact, if we look at the ES, kind of like the 4-hour, you know, decent little 20 MA rejection. You can make a case that's kind of like a bear flag there on that 4-hour time frame. But right now, the dominant pattern is still that green bar, and as long as that holds, you have to give at least the benefit of the doubt here to the bulls. If that breaks on a close, then all bets are off. I think you get weekly lower highs in, and you know, this market can probably go down and test, you know, the August lows potentially. At the very least, you have a minor trend line that could be developing there as well. That could be a level of interest there. There's a gap, but I do think that's kind of the big line in the sand here right now. Now, again, remember, next week is a quad witch OPEX. So, you know, in the last 2 days or so, we've seen some pretty odd price action. I wouldn't say odd, but it's definitely been choppy, a lot of premium drain. And it does look like it's already kind of those game playing, whatever I'm trying to say here, has already started. The premium burn, the whipsaw. So keep that in mind. I would say it's likely that we get some type of I'd say it's likely we don't get some type of decisive move next week. We should be chopping around. That's my kind of guess right now. Again, just because of that quad witch. Again, you know, bond stocks, futures, commodities, forex all expiring. So keep that in mind. But, you know, if we do by chance break this, then I got to give the bears the bias here. But until then, we can go up and, you know, maybe retest the highs. But 4,500, you know, don't be surprised if we close the week right there. Don't be surprised if we close the week at 44.50. Maybe they want it at 44 even. We'll see. After OPEX, I think then we'll get much more of a real move. My guess is, you know, you guys know I think the highs of the year are in, and I do have us under pressure here for the next month or two, maybe 2.5. We'll see how it goes, but right now, just take it level to level. And again, the only thing you need to worry about right now is that green bar on the SPX, and that's all I'm watching. Triple Qs here, that is fractionally lower. Again, Apple still under pressure. It is green on the day, but, you know, came well off the highs, and now you've kissed the 20 MA and pulled back. You know, like I said yesterday, you just did a lot of chart damage there. Even though we rallied back off the lows, I expected 175 to hold. It's just an ugly gap. It's not very good. And now rejecting the 20 MA. You know, if you stay below that 20 and that 100, you know, you could start to go sideways. You could build a base to attack this low. And if you build a big enough base to attack this low, it's going to go through it and probably down to the 200. Again, I've said this ad nauseum, but I mean, and take a look here, by the way. That's an outside move down on the weekly of Apple. So we came up, we curled up, we closed above this level, the breakdown level, and now we rejected it. And it looks like, you know, 178.55. We're basically at last week's low right now. We'll see if they save it. We only got 10 minutes left, so they need to pump it about 60 cents right here. It's possible they could do that. It's not that far away. But either way, still an ugly reversal there on volume for Apple. And again, I'm talking about Apple so much because it's a lot of the market. Another piece of the market that is very big is NVIDIA, as we all know, big gauge for momentum and risk appetite at this point. And again, the 450 level, if that breaks, I think that can be a big drag on the market here. Again, remember back here, May 24th, if we look at the spiders, it was in trouble, right? This could have been a failed breakout very easily if NVIDIA missed. Obviously they didn't, and it was the opposite. This kind of saved the market here and kick-started that bull run, right? So again, NVIDIA, a big important company. Watch that 450 level. That's going to be very important. It wouldn't surprise me if we get pinned there all next week. So again, expect a lot of game playing. Swings are going to be a little bit harder here. Day trading will be a little bit easier. But again, OPEX week, so just be careful. Anyways, Qs, like we talked about, flat to positive on the day. Again, still above this green bar, still above the 20, so that's holding up. 380 is still resistance. If we take out the green bar, it's likely down to this trend line, which basically is double bottom at this point. Russell 2000, that's the weak link still. Again, head and shoulder look, hasn't triggered yet. Still could get a bounce first, but definitely on the weaker side. That is the weak link in the market. Dow up 40 cents here, nothing crazy, stalling out at the 20. Right now you got higher lows. You could be maybe even putting in like a little bit of a wedge here. So higher lows there and the lower highs. We'll see if that starts to break down or break out. But again, at this point, there's plenty of room for this to tighten up and just go sideways into next week. But again, Dow hanging in there. We'll leave it at that. SMH here down 82 basis points. So this was a weak sector today. Again, NVIDIA under a lot of pressure here. AMD pulling back off the highs. Intel coming in after that big pump yesterday. So SMH coming down. And again, still inside of that red bar there. So still under a little bit of pressure here. Back below the 20 and 50. Let's see, daily chart. We'll say 145 again. It's probably going to be your level. You got the pivot there at 146. 100 MA, and then of course this trend line here, which is a bigger level. If that breaks, again, been talking about this for a while, there's an air pocket that I think needs to be satisfied down to that 130 handle on the SMH. It's part of the reason why I think we're under pressure here for the next couple of months. IGV starting to kind of stall out a little bit, still a strong sector. You can make a case this could be putting a little bit of a rolling pattern there though, but still a strong week. Got to respect it here. Up fractionally on the week, and again, still that 367.22 area, as well as the double top resistance. Again, we filled the gap the other day, and we've kind of just gone sideways since then, but trend is still up. So again, that needs to be respected. Dow transports can be disrespected. So again, I told you 15,250. I said it's not that good of a level anymore because we've flagged. I think 15K is a lot better. You got the 100 MA, whole round number, breakout pivot. Could see it maybe overshooting a little bit to 14.9, 14.8. But again, I do think that wants to get satisfied maybe early next week. And then, maybe you get a bounce into the end of the week there. But transport's still a weak sector. Partially, I think, because of crude. Maybe the other part is that market's expecting the economy to slow down. Certainly could be the case. Again, keep that on your radar. The transports are an important industry group. All right, speaking of slowing down here, let's look at the ZT, so the 2-year. Actually, let's forget that. I was going to be lazy today, but I don't like how that chart has that rollover gap. Okay, 2-year, we'll look at the 2-year. Again, back below 5%, but again, still a very good pattern there. Very strong. 5-year, very strong. 10-year, very strong. Back testing the 20, trend is up. 30-year, back testing the 20, the trend is up. So no problems here. The long bond is still the weaker one, though. Again, it does look like the market is expecting something of a slowdown or potentially closer to a slowdown. We do have the higher lows now in the 210 spread, and the same thing with the 3-month 10-year. But again, they still have a long way to go before they even get close to uninverting here. So anyways, XHB here, fractionally lower. This continues to bear flag. So again, looking at the hourly, big sell, inside bar, bear consolidation. We'll see. If we build enough of a base, this can go down. So watch the XHB here. Definitely not getting the type of bounce that we're used to seeing with it. And the ITB as well, back below the 20 there. This is still, well, technically you closed above that red bar, but never closed above the reversal bar there. But either way, ITB, again, under pressure as well, could be building a bear base inside of this as well. So just keep that in mind. VNQ here. pulling back 38 cents on the day again. Let's get rid of this trend line. I don't really like it that much anymore. But we'll look for 78 if it gets down there. And again, 84 on the upside. Nothing's changed in that regard. XLF trying to hang in there, trying to hold this green bar again, much like the spiders. Same setup, that Tuesday breakup bar. But the rest of the banks still not very good. I don't like JP. I don't like Bank of America, and even though it was green today. Wells getting a little bit of a pop off of these pivots here. Nothing great. Citi basically at 52-week close. So not a fan of the banks, not a fan of the money center banks. And again, Berkshire does make up a lot of that XLF, so just keep that in mind. KRE pulling back, or excuse me, popping off the lows there. So saving that 100 moving average, but again, still a bear flag breakdown. Again, it's not anything to write home about, right? A weak pattern. You know, it's up 1% today, but I mean, it basically had to hold that low, right? Nothing really great there. KBE a little bit stronger here, more of a double bottom pattern, holding with the 100 moving average, but again, still not a great pattern here on the daily either. Broker dealers getting a bit, again, so we talked about this yesterday, holding the 50 and the 20, and it's hanging in there. If that holds up, you know, again, you could go back to 510. If you take that out, it's back up to 520. So XBD hanging in there okay. Crude here, again, still holding up. So big move here, breakout on the weekly, and you could make a case that this is flagging here on the weekly time frame, or on the daily. Weekly, not so much yet, but you know, kind of a stall out this week. A lot of people were expecting it to sell off. It's held up. I still think it's a little overbought here, especially on the daily. You are going into a red bar right there around 89, 89.50. So not much upside. I can't really see much upside here in the short term. But again, when you close above these weekly levels, you get these types of squeezes, as we've talked about many times with the dollar and so on and so forth. But crude holding up, and we'll respect it. If we pull back, we'll see if 83.53 holds up again. If we get through that, you know, there's still higher floors here, I think. So around 77, 78 is still a good level to watch. But again, crude hanging in there. We'll leave it at that. XLE also up nicely today, up 1%. Again, this is getting a little rich here. You had the little pullback and another thrust there, but you know, kind of coming into this pivot. Then you've got the double top. I don't see any reason why I can't get there, but again, like I said, I would have preferred a couple more weeks of consolidation before moving higher. So short term, it looks a little extended. I wouldn't necessarily take a short against it, just because it's very strong. But again, it is a little extended here. I would have preferred more consolidation. There's XOP, again, going into that 155 level, pulling back. And OIH holding up. This can, you know, if this flags, this can have one more push into, you know, 365, 370 into that moving average there. But again, still a little rich for me. I wouldn't advise opening fresh longs here at this stage. Nat gas here continuing to bounce again. Nothing's changed. Still held that trend line, ascending triangle look on the weekly. And it's just a waiting game there. So Natty holding up. Dollar index. Market's about to close here in a few minutes, by the way. Dollar index just can't go red, right? It was red all day long, and then right in the last half hour or so, it just popped right back up. Again, this can still get to 106. So yes, it's overbought here on the daily, but as I said yesterday, you know, you can get overbought on the daily when you have a breakout pattern on the monthly like that. So keep that in mind. But dollar still holding up, and there's the closing bell. Sorry if that was loud. But in any case, dollar holding up. A little pivot there, 105.85, and then 106 whole round number going into that level. So those are your big levels to watch on the DXY there. Gold here, again, pulling back a little bit. This does look like it wants to get to 1900. If we break that, you guys know it's down to 1825. Silver here trying to hold on to the 23 handle. Not quite there yet. You know, nothing great here. I do think it has one more push lower, as you guys are aware. Platinum losing that 900 handle, so that is weak. That should get down to 860. And palladium here also under pressure here, and I do think that gets down to that 1100 handle. Copper selling off as well, down 1.2 into that 370 area. So again, that white trend line continues to be a level to watch. If we lose that, you got to hold this pivot here. Otherwise, it's down to 340, where I think it's going anyway. Okay, lastly, Bitcoin. Not a whole lot going on. Again, still stuck in this range. The more it consolidates, the more minor this pivot gets. the more likely it is to go out and test 21.5. There's nothing else to say. Spiders here again. So it looks like they scratched out a little bit of a gain. Apple, guess what? Closed below that level from last week. So weekly outside move down on Apple. But either way, again, next week, quad witch, expect lots of games. But again, the only thing that matters right now is to close below this. You get to close below that. We can go lower. As long as you stay above that, we can make one more push up. And then again, still the ceiling is that 453 handle on the SPY. And we'll leave it at that until next week. Anyways, guys, I'm wrapped up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will talk to you guys all next week.